As late as 1963, Black Americans were legally considered inferior to white Americans and subjected to a separate but equal policy. Segregation was the law of the land.
And I say segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever.
A black child could not attend a white school. A black teenager could not sit at a Woolworth's lunch counter. And a black adult could not find employment beyond menial labor jobs. Segregation was an unholy and evil stain on our great nation. Righteous indignation began the civil rights movement. At the forefront was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He espoused a peaceful means to end this abomination. His quest peaked with his famous "I Have a Dream" speech in Washington, D.C.
I have a dream.
During this speech, Dr. King uttered my favorite line from it.
My 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
His dream of equal rights culminated in the passage of the 1964 civil rights legislation, officially ending separate but equal. Blacks, on paper of course, were now equal to whites. We all know that did not deter many racist whites from clinging to their old ways, but by leaps and bounds forward, and horrific steps backwards as well, blacks came to be treated equally and fairly by most whites. They slowly but surely rose to be captains of industry, top brass in the military, and finally attained the very pinnacle of political power in America. Most black Americans used their hard-won rights to achieve the American dream. The problem? A small section of black America clung to a victim mentality, and that hatred was fueled by what we now call race baiters. Men such as Malcolm X, Jesse Jackson, and Al Sharpton became powerful voices in this movement,
which we intend to bring into existence by any means necessary.
That small section of blacks became larger as social policies began to cleave the black family model apart. Segregation had been outlawed years before, and whites could no longer keep blacks from being a part of any organization or entity. The irony and tragedy is blacks began segregating themselves. Groups such as the Black Congressional Caucus started. BET, the Black Miss America pageant, and many more rose to prominence as this pendulum swung. This separate but equal segregation has now reached its inevitable conclusion in the news of black students at Harvard having a blacks-only graduation ceremony. Men like Martin Luther King Jr. fought for equality, not superiority. We are all equal in the eyes of our Creator. Does anyone feel Dr. King wanted a perverted mirror image of separate but equal?
And I say segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever.